Hey gang, Will here from the Ashland Fly Shop. Hey, we've got a fishing report for you for the 10th of October as we're kind of working our way through fall. Some highs and lows, so we're going to really stick this fishing report. We're going to really stick to our region here close by what we're doing, fishing steelhead. So that's what we're going to talk about and give you the most current stuff. All right, here we go. All right, let's talk about the Rogue, our backyard fishery. Awesome river. It is about 1,000 CFS coming out of the dam. Very, very typical for this time of year. It's about 1,300 at Dodge Bridge, which is sort of halfway through the stretch that we really fish a lot, which is from the hatchery or dam down through, just north of Medford in there. In the kind of and even down into the Rogue River area. So what's going on now is very typical for this time of year. We have a high pressure system that's really come in and just kind of sitting on top of us. We've got clear days. It's much cooler than it typically is. Sometimes we're still into the high 70s, 80s this time of year. We just kind of went through a little bit of that, but we have a lot of high pressure, we have a lot of sun, we have low conditions, we have cold water, and what happens when we see this is we get into these real flat spots in the run, and that's what we're kind of seeing happen now. So we're starting to get more inconsistent reports going through the last part of September, mid-September, last part of September. We really had some outstanding fishing. We had some rain, things were kind of juiced up and moving, and we saw a lot of fish kind of moving through, coming in and settling out. And now we're really seeing everything kind of get a little more stale. So as the river gets, cold, kind of its coldest temperatures that we're going to see with really cold overnight temps, cold water releases, we're really going to see the fishing kind of slow down a bit and get quiet. And then when we get overcast, we get a little warmer weather, we get some rain, things get mixed up, more fish come in, the fish start to get active and move around a bit more, and we start to see more catch rates. So if you are a nymph fisherman, if you fish nymphs, this is a good time for you to be fishing. The fish get really huddled up, they get really, stuck on those ledge rock and down in those troughs and stuff, and it's a very good time to feed them nymphs. The fishing can be really good. Not a lot of salmon this year, not seeing a lot of salmon, so I don't know if they're still yet to come, and then ultimately, a lot of times we can get into some egg fishing, when we got more salmon on the reds and stuff, but I just don't know if they're enough to really get that kind of wound up and started. You can always fish an egg pattern. You always can fish an egg pattern for steelhead forever and ever, and they will respond to it. So if that gets you going, go for it. But now is a really good time to be fishing nymphs on the Rogue. Of course, we love to swing flies, that, we're about that, and it's going to be tough out there, I think. I think it's going to be inconsistent, it's going to be challenging. Some days, be tough, some days you might find one. I just got back from a trip on the Middle Rogue, which was very much that way. It was pretty quiet after it had been very good. We had 3 days of pretty challenging fishing on the Middle River, so we did find a few here and there. But it was pretty tough overall. So I think we're getting into that very typical Indian summer, high pressure, cold water phase that we can almost expect in October. It's become very common. So we'll just keep you tuned in to that and see how things kind of move. We're still fishing a lot of the same stuff. Again, nymphs, a lot of the same stuff as we always talk about with stoneflies and smaller droppers. Nymphs and things like that. And then for swinging flies, now is the time to start thinking about tips in the upper river when the conditions are a little colder. Now is the time to really start thinking about tips and your kind of mini, smaller intruders. That's a really good thing to be fishing right now. Middle Rogue, you can still use your lighter lines, and traditional flies and stuff like that are still going to work. The water temps are nice for that still. So, but we're just in that swing, in that kind of switch period where things are kind of transitioning a bit. So that's what we're seeing up here, and we'll keep you updated with that. The Klamath River, we've had very good feedback from the Klamath. It's very typical, 1,000, 1,100 CFS out of the dam. That's at the very top, and there really hasn't been much precipitation to speak of. So I just expect it to be pretty normal flows as you kind of go down 96 there. So now is a very good time to be fishing there though. And I would say around Happy Camp and sort of in that stretch and above there should be good numbers of fish in there now. But that's Klamath would be a place that I'd be looking to try right now. Yeah, we love getting down there this time of year. It's really a beautiful spot to go. Pretty quiet area. So the Klamath would be a good bet. Still, you can fish your lighter lines, your surface-oriented flies, traditionals. You can also fish light tips and little mini intruders and stuff. All that's going to work, as well as nymph fishing. That stuff's all going to produce. Again, I haven't really heard much about salmon down there as well. I would imagine there are some. They should be starting to kind of get on reds and cut reds and stuff. So that egg bite can be a little crazy down there if it really gets going. So we'll see if that materializes or not. But the Klamath will be a really good bet. And then they just kind of keep moving. You know, we do these fishing reports weekly or bi-weekly, you know, just assume that they're going to be kind of leapfrogging up the river. And typically around later in October, 1st of November is when we start poking around the I-5 area. That's a little more accessible to us, but the fish should be up there around then, and we'll start talking about that stretch. So that's what we're seeing on the Klamath. Fall's a great time to be fishing, so lots of stuff going on. We're very tuned into our home water this time of year, you know, with our steelhead runs and stuff. So we're a little tuned out with you know, Northern California trout fishing and things like that. But boy, this is the time of year to be fishing. You know, it's just everything's going on. It's hard to pick a place. But yeah, if you've got the time, can make the time, go to it. We see the large October caddis hatch on the upper Sacramento rivers and McCloud rivers. That's a really fun thing to be a part of. The McCloud can be a really fun streamer fishery for those large migratory browns later in the season like this. The upper Sacramento's open, the remainder open all year. The McCloud closes on the 15th of November. So that's something to keep in mind, but both those rivers should experience some very good fishing along with the other rivers around Mount Shasta this time of year. So really good bet to be heading out there. Klamath Basin, our guide that we work with over there, Paul McDonald, he's kind of wrapped up on that for the year and is over fishing steelhead with us. But boy, it was really good before he left on the Williamson. So that whole region is also a very good place to be. It's not really thought of as a real late season fishery, but the Williamson and the Wood River, I think, would just be exceptional places to fish right now. You know, really good as more fish continue to move up out of the lake. Those fisheries would be a really good spot to check out if you've got the time, and probably pretty darn quiet over there. So those would be kind of at the top of my list of places to check out as well this time of year. Lakes in general can also be very good. Diamond Lake's probably getting pretty darn cold up there, but it does push the fish, you know, to the edges of the lake as it flips over, and there's a lot of food in the shallow areas of the lake. So if you're a stillwater fisherman, a lot of good activity right now for the next probably 2 or 3 weeks before it starts to get pretty darn cold to be out there. But I'd be looking at Klamath Lake, Diamond Lake, and some of our little lakes, you know, our little high mountain lakes here like Hyatt Lake and Howard Prairie. They probably have a little brief window of pretty good fishing, and I would imagine it's right about now. So as I said before, now's the time to be poking around and doing some fishing. So pack up the truck and get on out there. Great, we sure appreciate you tuning in as usual. Please call us with any feedback or if you need any more detailed information. We appreciate it. Thank you.